Hey there fellow tech enthusiasts, welcome back to my channel Errors to Earnings. Hi, I'm Divya and today we are going to discuss about data types and comments. So Violet, let's get started. So what's our agenda today? So we are going to look into what are the different types of data types we have in SQL along with how to write comments in SQL. So let's get started. So before going into SQL data types, let's understand what is data. So we all know what is data, right? Data is nothing but information. And that information can take many forms, right? It can be a text, it can be date, time, or it can be audios, videos, etc. etc. So what are data types now? Data types are nothing but the kind of data that we want to store are nothing but data types. So similarly, what are SQL data types? The kind of data that we want to store in columns are nothing but SQL data types. Now let's look into them one by one. The first one is numeric data types. This numeric data types is usually used to store numbers. So we have int, SMALLINT, BIGINT, decimal and float in numeric data types. Int. Int is generally used to store integers like 10, minus 25, etc. Perfect for things like student IDs or ages. So it is like no fraction should be allowed in this club. Next comes the small int. Like int but have smaller range. Great for things like class sizes. For example, we can say that this class consists of 60 students, right? So we can use small int to store the number 60 here. Next comes the big int. It is usually used to store really big numbers, like for astronomers tracking planets, okay? So, next comes the decimal. It is generally used to store precise numbers with decimals. Example, let's say 123.45. Alright? So, we can say that S generally denotes for how many digits we have to store. Let's say if I want to store the up to 2 decimal places, then I can use 2. If not 3. You got the point, right? It is generally used for salaries or balances. Next comes the float. It is same as decimal but stores the approximate decimals, less precise but faster. It is generally used for scientific data to decide word angles in degrees. Alright. So, in the given description box below, you can find link to the nodes where you can see the ranges of this int, small int, big int. Alright. Next comes the string character data types. So, this is generally used to store text. Alright. We have three different types in it. One is character n, next varchar of n, next is text. So, what is char of n used for? This is used for fixed length of text. Suppose if I declared a variable with char of 5, that means I have to store 5 characters. If not, the storage space would be wasted. So it is like storing fixed data, like for example, postal codes. You can say that it is strict and short. Alright. Next comes the varchar of n. Varchar of n is nothing but variable length text. Here you can use names, addresses, etc. So it is very flexible and widely used. Why? Because it does not waste the storage. Alright. If say let's example I declared a variable with varchar 30. And if my name is Divya, right? And my name just uses 5 bits. So it doesn't waste the remaining bits. So this is the reason why varchar is very widely used. And no wasted space, just what you need. And next comes the text. Here it is unlimited length text. It is generally used for essays, reviews or diary entries. Alright. Let's get into the next data type. The next data type is date and time data types. So it is generally used to store dates, times or both. Now let's get into it. So the first one is date. When we use date, we meant that it is used for storing dates like 2025, 01, 24. It is usually stored in the format of year, month, and date. Alright. Next comes the time. It generally stores the time of the day. It gives like for example 14:30, hours, minutes with seconds. And next comes the date type. In date time, it combines both date and time. Like for example, if I use date time, I'll get today's date as well as time. Next comes the timestamp. This is similar to date time, but it is generally used for tracking changes. And what is the special feature of timestamp is it combines time zone along with date time. So simply remember that in daytime we will not have any time zone, whereas in timestamp we'll have a time zone. Alright. Next, years. It generally used to store a separate year. Okay, example for 2025 or 2024. It is generally used to store a year value. Alright. Next is the Boolean data type. So what is a Boolean data type? It is generally used to store either true or false. If true, 1. If false, then it is 0. For example, let's say, can I watch this movie? Yes, or true, I can watch this movie. Or did I watch this movie? I did watch this movie, right? True. Then it is stored as 1. If not, it stores as 0. Or you can say that we all know Harry Potter, right? Did the spell work? True, the spell did work, 1. Or if the spell didn't work, false, then the spell didn't work. It is stored as 0. You got the point, right? And next comes the binary data types. So binary data types are generally used for storing binary data like images or files. And we use BLOB to store the binary data types. For example, we can save pictures and audio files using BLOB. Alright. Next comes the spatial data types. So what is spatial data types? It generally stores the geographical data like points or polygons. For a point, we give that point 2030. That means, so this can be any coordinates, alright? And now gives polygon. Say 0, 0, 10, 0, 10, 10. So this may give a boundary, alright? Let's consider an example. We all know Harry Potter, right? We'll go back to the Harry Potter example. So this point may be coordinates to Hagrid's hut. All right. Suppose let's say this entire space is Hogwarts. Now, this is the point here. All right. That is 2030. So this point is coordinates for Hagrid's hut. All right. Now this polygon, let's say after plotting this polygon, I got something like this. All right. This polygon is going to be the Forbidden Forest. So you can say that in order to store geographical data like points or polygons, we use spatial data types. Alright. Now next comes the next topic, that is comments in SQL. Why do we need comments in general? So that your future self will not curse at your past self. Remember folks, comments are very important in any programming language or whenever you are coding. Alright. In order to create a single line command, we use the syntax. Whereas in order to create multi-line commands, we use this syntax. So, in today's topic, we have discussed data types and comments, right? In upcoming lectures, we will dive deeper. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Until next video, see you. Bye-bye.